Brazil has taken a lot of heat for the mounting cost of hosting the World Cup, but there have been some benefits. Joining us now from Los Angeles to talk about this is Patrick Rishe. He's a sports analyst and economist, and thank you so much for joining us on our broadcast.
Sure, thank you.
What did we learn from Brazil in their hosting?
Well, they surprised me. They were not up to snuff just weeks and days before the World Cup. Many of the stadiums weren't quite ready to go. There were a lot of the airports that were not quite up to par, but they've pulled it off. And this hopefully bodes well for their efforts to come off with the 2016 Rio Games, Summer Olympic Games.
I see, but they did sort of avoid a lot of the buildup about the protests. There were some protests in the beginning, but it was projected to be a lot worse. So they did deal with that pretty well. They
did. They had tremendous security throughout the event in most of the cities, and I wonder if that's a big reason why they were able to keep those protests at a minimum. Last year at their Confederations Cup, there were several protests, and that's what had people worried. But, for instance, today at the finals, they had 25,000 security. So it's hard to get something started. Again, kudos to Brazil. Operationally, once the tournament got started, everything went off very well. So they atoned for some of the concerns before the tournament.
A lot of the people there are upset, the natives, about the fact that the government did spend so much on this compared to what it spends on everyday life there for them. Will it offset this? Will what they made make up the difference in the short term anyway?
Unfortunately not. You're talking about $13 billion that were spent on this World Cup. About half of that was spent on construction of facilities. And granted, they'll get some useful life out of some of those facilities, not all of the facilities, like the stadium in Manaus in the jungle that only hosted 4 games and now is pretty much going to be an elephant just sitting there not being used by anyone. But there is large degrees of income inequality in this country, and I think if there's anything to be learned from this, in the next 2 years, there's got to be a focus to try to redirect some of those funds to health, to infrastructure, to try to appease some of the middle class of Brazil.
Well, what is the takeaway for Brazil on this, other than a pat on the back for doing a pretty good job?
Again, there is a slight boost in economic impact because of the visitors that come in, but the takeaway is that they were at least able to, again, gather themselves. Unlike the Brazilian soccer team in the semifinals against Germany, the stadiums were able to gather themselves. The country was able to put on a good show, and again, that bodes well going forward. I think it could help see an increase in tourism between now and the 2016 Rio Games, because people didn't see a lot of negativity, which people were predicting prior to this World Cup. So there's another source of economic benefit that could occur between now and Rio in 2016.
All righty, we're looking forward to that. Patrick Rishe, live from Los Angeles. Thank you so much.
Thank you.